Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the Mindset Check podcast. This is your host, Misha McKittrick. This is a podcast where we believe that as you take time for a mindset check, you have more power than you think you do. And where we also believe that when you learn to find things to look forward to, it helps you through the hard. I can't wait to dive into this today. I'm sharing something that is current and personal. And it's really just a little bit of a story that helps you learn how to look at your own perspective when things might feel a little bit hard in your life. So a little bit of a recap of the Mindset Check podcast. The Mindset Check podcast in season 3 is really all about helping us find that power inside of us, right? The power that helps us to check into thinking a little bit differently or doing something just a little bit differently so that we can be checked into that power in an incredible way so that we can also find joy in our life. Season 1 was all about my story and sharing from my journal when I was 15 and pregnant and the rocky road that I went on during that time. Season 2 was all about my husband's side of that story and him sharing his personal experiences and how we ended up together. And a lot of that is just sharing in a raw, authentic way, how things that we experienced that were difficult and hard. But we don't have to get stuck there. And that's the whole point of the Mindset Check podcast. It's just to help us to move forward and to find joy in our lives, no matter what is happening or what's around us. Sometimes that's joy when our hearts feel really raw, and that's okay. So we're going to dive into something a little bit like that today. Let's jump in. Today I want to share something with you that has wildly helped me through my life when I have hard times, and that helps me have a little bit of a perspective shift. This is something that I think I learned from my dad when my daughter passed away, and we'll get into that. It's possible that it goes back even earlier than that. But I don't know how your memory is. My sister can remember things when she was 3 years old. My memory is not that on point. So this past week, there was a really big life event that happened for me and my family. And my son, as some of you might know that are following me on social media, decided to serve a mission for our church. And what that looks like is he leaves us, the family, everything he knows. And he goes to a place that he's called to, divinely called, right? That God is calling him to go to teach the people there. And a lot of times people, when I tell this to them, they're like, oh yeah, but you can visit and he can visit and blah, blah, blah. We don't visit. It's 2 years of complete focus and concentration on the people that he is serving. He does call, and he can call weekly. Okay, but we're not talking like text and immediate gratification type of a thing. We're talking, he has 1 day a week that's called preparation day, where they get to do all the things that they need to do to restore, right? Like laundry and grocery and all of that stuff. And on P day, which is preparation day, he gets to call his family. Whew. So I've already been thinking okay, I'll keep a list of all the things I need to talk to him about through the week. And it's really going to be teaching us a lot about instant gratification and treasuring the time that we have together and so forth. Okay, but do you see what I just did there? I just went down a road where I was like, okay, this is really going to help us to come into a different space. and it's funny that I'm already arriving at that before even telling you the completion of what I'm really talking about because this is how my brain consistently works. I'm always kind of looking for. I've trained my mind, and of course the outside sources and the exposure to the people and the way that they think is really what has allowed me to train my mind to do this. To be able to look forward to something in a space that all of a sudden might feel tight or crunchy or difficult. So to finish and wrap the story up, we dropped my son off last week at the MTC. So that's the Missionary Training Center, and he stays there for a couple of weeks before going out into the field. Okay, that's where the field is where he's going to serve people, right? So we drop him off and we hug him for what will be the last time for 2 years until we are reunited again. And so it's this very emotional event. And man, I am really proud of the way that went down in our car, in our family. And I think the reason why, because as we were prepping to drop him off, we were kind of listening to a playlist of songs that are, emotionally provoking towards him, right? So songs that remind us of him, songs that are sort of like dedicated to him. Like, do you know Humble and Kind by Tim McGraw? Or My Wish by Rascal Flatts? Those types of songs that are just like, almost like a parent saying, go soar, right? And all other songs, like lots of other songs that like helped us remember him and his life. And then there's this one song that's called I'll Let You Go by Jessica Allossery, Allossery, in case you want to look it up. It is literally, I will cry thinking about the song because it is like a mother. Oh, it's the most beautiful words about a mother and her tribute to her child, basically saying like the day has come to let you go and you've grown up and things have changed and nothing takes away my love ever. But I'm going to let you go. You'll always be my baby, but I'm going to let you go. Okay, wow. So we pull up to the place where we're dropping him off. And as you pull in, they have someone there at the gate to welcome you and to check you in. And they take your name and they make sure you have the elder in the car with you, the missionary in the car with you. And they're asking you just a couple of questions. Like, what's your name? Very, very simple questions to ask. And I couldn't answer, okay? Because we had been listening to all of these songs. And not in entirety. We were kind of skipping around a little bit. But this last song, I'll Let You Go, we were listening to in entirety and just, wow, feeling feelings. And the reason that I say that I'm proud of that is because it is so incredibly healthy for us to feel feelings, to help us process and feel what we're feeling in the moment. Like, that is an incredible thing. And so we pull up and they're like, and I'm driving and I kind of sit back and like look at my husband because I tried and I couldn't get the words out. And so he's like talking over me, trying to help the situation. And I'm just like a total mess. And then we pull into the parking lot, into the parking garage. And there's this like a gorgeous group of missionaries that are already at the MTC, and they're all waving and welcoming people. But there's one particular arm that's waving a little bit more. I mean, I just knew the moment we pulled in, I knew who it was. Because we knew that our friend's daughter was there and that there was a possibility that she would be welcoming and helping, say hello and welcoming us to the MTC. And it was just so sweet because this girl is the daughter of one of my husband's very best friends. And they happened to be in the MTC at the same time as well when they both served their missions. So it was like this sweet little alignment. And we keep seeing our kids do, repeat this history that we have. If you remember the story about the legs and Tice's leg's not working. And in the previous years, Jake's best friend's leg's not working. That's a quick little flashback. If you remember that from the podcast in the past, that's the same family. It's the same friend. So it was extremely tender and sweet. All right, so we're still crying. We pull around and we park the car and we get out, and another missionary that's a stranger to us offers to like take pictures for us and, you know, help with anything and get the baggage out. And then you're just supposed to hug your person. And it's beautiful and glorious and gorgeous and heart-wrenching. So we hug and I started off, and then everybody else hugs. And then I'm like, I gotta have another hug. The very first time Scotty hugged me, he told me, Mom, there's something waiting on your phone that I sent you, and Mac's gonna make sure it comes through. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then the next time I hug him, I tell him, sweetheart, memorize this. Memorize how this feels. And remember every single hug and head massage and times when I just would reach over and hold your foot. You know, I think that the hardest part for me is just that physical affection. I can handle being away. I can even handle, I think I can handle holidays and birthdays, loving from afar. I think I can do that. I don't really know yet. I think I can. But I just wish I could hug, especially when times feel hard for him. That'll be the biggest thing for me. And the thing that he sent to my phone, just as like a PS, because I don't know, it feels so reassuring to me as a mom. And so I would also think that maybe you will be interested, because there are a lot of things that can heal us and help us. And man, Scotty showed up. So he made each of us videos with music, pictures of us together, and his voice overlaid. I love the video he made for me. I want to watch it every day. It was just such a thoughtful thing for him to do to help us through what he thought would be really, really hard for us. Just stellar and on point. And so I'm sharing all of this with you for a purpose. And the biggest purpose is to see that there are things that we can do when we're in the middle of difficult that help relieve us, that help us to shift our perspective. So things that he made that were videos, and I tucked away and did some really cool things inside of his suitcase. I had everybody that are familiar possibly with what he might be going through, that he's also close to, write letters to him that have a cover over them as far as a colored piece of paper, so he doesn't know that they're there or who they're from. And it just says, read this when you're struggling. Read this when you need a lift. Read this when you need to be reminded of your gifts. Read this when you need to check into love. Read this when... And I just titled all of these different letters and included pictures of the person that wrote the letter to him. And hopefully that also really, really helps him, right? I sent pictures from home and cardboard frames that he can put them in and putty to hang them on his walls, and, all of these things that I could think of that were flooding to me to try to help him, right? To treasure up what we have. Because just because we're away from each other for a while doesn't mean that we don't have those things. Sometimes we get lost in our perspective. So those types of things help us. For me, they help me to revel in the love and in the joy of what I have. But I think that the pivotal perspective shift in this whole thing, and also that it really does apply to life and in anything that we're experiencing that's hard or difficult, is being able to ask, do you have something to look forward to inside of this? And I think this situation is interesting because it is a different kind of struggle. Yes, you'll miss them. And yes, that they will go through things that will cause them to grow. In other words, there will possibly be struggles or major struggles that they'll be experiencing while they're away from you. And so there's kind of like that kind of emotion, but ultimately and the goodbye is always like heart-wrenching, but it's not goodbye like someone died. Okay. And I think that's really important to keep as a perspective here, because I'm going to talk to you also about things that are tough, things that are a little bit more difficult, and how this question really can help us shape the way that we see things. It can help us sort of reframe. So I look at this laundry list of all of these things for Scotty that I have to look forward to, right? His growth, like his foundation being, completely affected for the rest of his life. I'm looking forward to the way that he will mature and be more responsible, right? More responsible than what I could raise. Because mom's always there to fall back on. Mom's always there to clean up after you. Mom's always there to, right? Even though as much as I try to teach my kids to be responsible on their own, they really can't do all of that without being on their own. I'm really looking forward to the way that our communication will change. I think that because we can only talk, we can't just be around each other. We can talk and we can essentially video call each other. But I think there will be a lot more that's learned in being able to express and communicate things that are happening for us, emotions we're feeling, all kinds of things that as an entire family, I think we'll get better at. I'm looking forward to the ways that this alters and affects his brother's lives, the people's lives that are around him. Literally, I'm just like, there's a laundry list of so many things that I have that I can look forward to inside of all of this. And I think it's really important for me to remember that if I were to wish for him to be here, that it would take away some of those things that I'm looking forward to for him. Does that make sense? And so I think it's really important in the middle of our hard to look at the other side, to look at what we're looking forward to be able to say, what can you look forward to, that things that are going to happen no matter what? And also, what can you create to look forward to? I'm already so pumped to to print all of the pictures that we've had over the years of Christmas and to send him different Christmas packages, because Christmas, if you know Scotty, Christmas is a really big deal for him. So being away from family at Christmas is going to be tough. And I could sit in that. Or I could be like, holy cow, what can I create to look forward to sweeten that deal? Right? So these are the things inside of a situation like this where we can create things to look forward to. We can know of things to look forward to. But sometimes there are things in life that are really, really hard. In other words, we know that there's an end. Scotty comes home in 2 years. We know that there will be, things that happen in the interim, but, there will be reunite, right? And sometimes when we're struggling, we don't know when that end will come to that struggle, or when we're helping a family member through something that's really, really difficult. We don't know when that end might come, right? Or if it's really big, like death or something like that. These are things that are a lot bigger struggles. They're struggles in a different way. And they can trick our mind, because our mind can start to loop into not being able to see that there is a day where it will be different, right? So sometimes we cut off what we can look forward to. And it's really, really important for us to, no matter what we're going through, no matter what the struggle is, to be able to say, what can I look forward to this? Because struggle really does refine us. Struggle helps us grow. Struggle helps us bring different ideas and perspective and people and love. And man, when we struggle, our heart gets cracked open. And when our heart gets cracked open, it's like a muscle. When a muscle rips, it continues to grow. It grows, it grows, it grows, it gets bigger. And there are a lot of things inside of struggle that cause us to get better. Like, what does it bring for us? How does it refine you? And I'm not one to say that, like, one of my favorite quotes that I've coined says, just because the struggle refines you doesn't mean that you need to sign up for suffering. In other words, sometimes we get into a pattern of struggle and then it's our pattern. And so we sign up for struggle. We continually sign up for it because we think that, life is supposed to be hard, or we're supposed to experience tons and tons and tons of trials. But I don't really look at struggle like that. I look at struggle like a video game when you're collecting the coins. You know how sometimes you're going through the video game and there are coins and you can go collect them up, and sometimes you're going through and there's no coins. Like, we aren't the ones that are determining whether the coins are there or not, right? Sometimes we can, because that's exactly what I'm trying to get to, is that sometimes if we create patterns of struggle, we create patterns of hard, and we expect life to be hard, that's when we're creating coins. But they're not really coins because they don't pay us. Does this make sense? Okay, I hope this is making sense. But the coins that are the struggle, we run and we pick them up because there is a payday associated with it. There is something that comes from us being able to play that game because it helps us grow. But we don't have to go around creating coins, right? And if we can help ourselves see that there's something to look forward to in all of our struggles, like inside of the hardest of the hard, maybe it's looking forward to the next day when the sun rises and things can be reset a little bit. Maybe it's looking forward to the knowledge that will help you conquer it so that you can teach other people, so that you can grow yourself, so that whatever the thing to look forward to is, so that you can recognize, oh man, now I know in the future. I was playing pickleball with a woman last night, and she said, yeah, I'm kind of nervous to not be going to school or working or anything right now, because the last time that happened, I fell into like a depression. And what I'm saying for you is that you can start to recognize patterns. And when you've helped yourself grow and learn through it, like for the woman playing pickleball, I think for her, she was thinking that like the busyness is what helps her to stay away from it. When everything we're learning on this podcast and everything I teach as a heart and mind coach is that you really do have more power over those chemicals being released in your body than you think you do. And it's not just distracting yourself from them, right? Keeping yourself busy so that you don't fall into them. It's being able to be in a place where inside your body you're releasing all those happy chemicals because of what you choose to do for 15 minutes a day, right? Those are the types of things I like to kind of address. But once you learn that, if you started to feel yourself fall into something that would look like a depression again in your future, because you learned it, because you went through it, because there was struggle, you know what to do. There was a time when I heard a woman say, and she shared this comment in church, and she said, I had a very profound experience when she was going through some struggles, that what she was experiencing, the reason why she was experiencing it, was so that she could help her child through it in the future. Wow. That's something to look forward to. Okay. Not looking forward to that there's going to be struggle in the future. Looking forward to, in the future, I'll know what to do. In the future, my child is going to pick up a coin. That's inevitable. And before they hear that cha-ching noise, like they've collected it, there's going to be actually a great big pause in there. And in that pause, I'm going to know what to do. Sometimes when things are really, really, really hard, we have to zoom out. We have to see something. We have to see our life from a bigger perspective, what I like to call an eternal perspective, right? Where we're really just looking at our life and we're saying, wow, how will this really affect and help me in the long run? And I think when we experience really, really big things like disease, intense mental struggles, major suffering, hard things, death, those types of things, those definitely require us to zoom out and see things in a bigger picture. So when my daughter passed away, I remember my dad really, really walking me through that when I'm sad, that those are my feelings. And they're somewhat selfish feelings because I want her here with me. And I really love how my dad gave me complete permission to be there no matter what. Like, feel how you feel. It's really important to feel how you feel. But it's also really, really important to see the whole picture. To see that she graduated, that she was ready to move into a different state, and that she's moving forward. So how can I not be also happy for her progression? And honestly, in my situation, for her, gosh, it was just a really comforting thought to be able to picture what her life would be like here, potentially going between, mom and dad, joint custody type of a situation. And some of the things inside of that with her just being able to be freed from so much of what she would carry if she were here. Like, that was a very, very comforting thing for me. It was comforting for me to see that it could be better for her to be where she was at than to be here for the time being. Okay, because my beliefs are that I will still be able to raise this baby girl, that I'll still have her on my hip, that I'll be with her for eternity. And those are things that are hardcore, like built into me. And I've had really, really cool experiences around them. And if you have a similar experience and you need to be, you need more direction on that, reach out to me. Always just reach out to me. I would love to hear from you. But you see how that's something that I have to look forward to inside of all of this. So it's really important for me to start to be able to zoom out, or just possibly inside of whatever struggles, without even zooming out, being able to see, well, what do I have to look forward to? And essentially asking also, like, would I trade what I want for what it is that I have to look forward to inside of this? Like what I want right now? Because I guarantee you in a couple months, I'm going to be like, I just want to hug Scotty. That's just what I want. But the list of what I have to look forward to, because he gets to be focused, because he gets to be all in 100%, like it'll be a lot easier for me because I've thought through those things that I have to look forward to when those really tough times of missing him come. So remember that no matter what you're going through right now, no matter how difficult it seems, know that you can grow through it. Know that there is a purpose for you to be going through it, and help yourself reframe that by looking for what you can look forward to. And I hope that through that simple trick that you see that you have more power than you think you do. All right, my friend, I hope you got something from that episode. It always warms my heart to be able to share things that are really deep in my heart with you. I want to remind you that you can support the podcast by subscribing, rating, and reviewing the podcast. Also, if you're shopping on Amazon and you want to support the podcast, you want to support everything to keep in motion and keep moving forward, then I would love it if you use my affiliate link when you're shopping for everything you need on Amazon. For crying out loud, I love the convenience that Amazon has become in my life. When you're shopping, instead of just shopping at Amazon.com, if you type in Amazon.com/shop/my friend Misha, then you'll be in my affiliate link. And for the next, I think 12 or 24 hours, whatever you put in your cart, it doesn't matter if it's on a list that I provided or if it's just anything that you search up. You put it in your cart, you purchase it, then I'll get a little bit of a kickback, and it doesn't cost you any more. It's just a way for you to continue to give back and help the podcast move forward. And before we leave, I want to share a quote with you that is such incredible advice by Joe Girard. And that is, look back to learn how to look forward. Until next time, my friend.